Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, October 20th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the market is still open, so that candlestick you see right there will be moving around and changing. But I like to do these markets or these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol ICU. Did this one in yesterday's video, and another very, very nice movement. So that's where this line here is coming from, but I'll go ahead and delete that out as it served its purpose for now. And the new dynamic here headed into Friday, and the dynamic that you got to think a lot of people are watching right now. So this is not some sort of like revolutionary, brilliant trend line on my part. Got to think a lot of people have noticed this trend line right here and are watching it. Also, and I make all those comments because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible? Is it valid that if the price can come up here and push through that trend line, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible potential outcome, even if it is just because of a self-fulfilling prophecy. In terms of supports, and if you like to play more so pullbacks, interesting pullback area right here, this previous breakout point down there around the 86-cent mark. So we'll change that to green to represent the support. And then I'll draw this very crudely just from an overarching standpoint, because what is essentially you have here is just a big old bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants and you like this price range, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, OTLK. And overall, well, I was going to say a nice looking chart, but I suppose there is, perspective that goes into that. Meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really bad. But from an overarching standpoint, things are looking very nice. As I squeeze this down, you can see nice overall uptrend here, higher highs, higher lows. And within the bigger picture of things, this has just been a pullback. But I mean, there's been previous pullbacks before, and those pullbacks have all led to higher highs. Does that mean for sure guaranteed this one is going to lead to higher highs? Of course not. There are no guarantees. But is it plausible? Is it valid to throw out that question and say, hey, you know what? There's a track record of this thing pulling back and then going to new highs. So maybe, just maybe, that happens again. That's certainly a plausible scenario. Not guaranteed, but plausible. So in regards to the supports, I think the easiest way to just watch this one and to give a little bit better perspective is check out that purple line there. That being the famous 50-period moving average. And what I like about moving averages is I kind of like to call them trend line for lazy people, because this will draw itself for you. Meaning as time goes by, that moving average is going to continue to move higher and higher, which is essentially a trend line for you. So from an overarching standpoint, just keep an eye on that purple line there. To me, that makes the most sense from a support standpoint. In terms of areas of resistance, main battleground here, if the price can curl back upwards, it's going to be right up there around the 77-cent mark. So keep a close eye on that. But from a bigger picture standpoint, higher highs and higher lows has been the name of the game. Next one here, TSLA. Tesla had earnings today, and the market did not like it. Although from a pattern standpoint, very interesting pattern, especially when you combine the fact that you have an interesting pattern with a very popular stock. And once more on that talking topic of self-fulfilling prophecies, it becomes rational to think that could happen. So let me get this pattern drawn out here. So we have our area of support right here on the bottom part of the pattern right there. And then as far as resistance levels are concerned, we have that level right there. So let me just, there we go, that level right there. And this would be a falling wedge pattern. Now you may think falling wedge is a bearish pattern, but actually falling wedge is a bullish pattern, whereas a rising wedge would be a bearish pattern. But as I've said, no guarantees, and I'll probably say that a dozen more times just because I want you to know there's no guarantees. Don't look at it and say, oh, so this is for sure going to happen. That doesn't exist. But no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it rational to think that very popular stock with a falling wedge pattern, if Tesla can come up here and get a break through that top part, that could at least generate a worthwhile, tradable move? Absolutely. Am I saying that a break of this sends it all the way up to 260? I'm not making that claim. I'm making the claim from a trading standpoint that a break of that level could very well create enough, movement for a trader, whether that's stock itself or options, to make some profits from. So if you like falling wedge patterns, definitely keep an eye on Tesla here moving forward. Next one, SECO. Talked about this one previously and talked about how this $1.38 mark had been an area of resistance, but you can see earlier on in the morning, price got above there, so that's where the first update comes into play. And this update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closes above, you want to see them act as support. So newest area of support moving forward right there at $1.38. And just to add a little bit more context, you can see that there has been a nice upwards trend to it here ever since. I mean, this was a nasty move all the way down here, don't get me wrong, but ever since it bottomed out there, it has now been working on putting in those higher bases, so that's always a good sign to see. But in terms of levels of resistance now moving forward, next key battleground to watch, going to be right up there around $2.15. So keep an eye on 215. Get a good solid volume, high volume break of that level, then I think there's a good potential here for this thing to pick up that much more momentum. Next one here, AMC. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past videos, but if you have, hopefully remember me talking about that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the famous 200 period moving average. And I mean, this is awesome. Look at that. Priced right down. Now, did it bounce exactly to the exact penny off that level? It didn't. But did it bounce off the general area? Absolutely. So for any of you that watched past videos and you bought the pullback there to that 200 period moving average, you definitely got a great bounce here. But that's also where strategy comes into play. So if you're a day trader, then yeah, you got an absolutely fantastic move right there. But if you're looking for more, then yeah, sometimes you'll get more, but sometimes this sort of thing will happen where the price rolls back over. But on the good news front, even with that rollback over, the price is still above that pink line there, which is a good sign to see. So moving into Friday, definitely going to want to continue to watch that pink line. Now, if the price drops below there and then just explodes and keeps going to the downside, that's not a good sign at all. But as of now, the price is behaving like you would want to see it behave in terms of bouncing off that area. But definitely all eyes on that 200 period moving average here headed into Friday. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here very soon. If you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. Now, one special note, it is a live event, so maybe you have something on your schedule this evening, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you completely missed it, but you do still want to see it. It will be recorded, so I'd be happy to send you a replay link to it. So just send me an email there, clay@claytrader.com. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, ticker symbol MTC. Beautiful, beautiful uptrend here, higher highs and higher lows. So let's continue to watch this one. I don't know. I don't think I've tracked this one at all. So I'm not sure how this one is snuck under the radar till now, but it has, and sometimes that happens. But for those of you that caught this way earlier, congratulations to you. Well done. So let's map out some areas here. And the first level that I'm curious about from a support standpoint, for those of you that like to play pullbacks, is this trend line right there. I think that's a very interesting dynamic here as far as the chart is concerned. Now, maybe you disagree and say, Clay, I think you're overcomplicating this. I think that, like your other chart you talked about, just use that purple line. Use that 50 period moving average, because that 50 period moving average is just going to keep on moving upwards. So just use that as your quote unquote trend line. And that's a more than valid argument too. So, but at the end of the day, you got to think for yourself. Maybe you do like that one. Maybe you would prefer to use that. But in my mind, that's an interesting dynamic, so worth mentioning. But I completely also understand where you're coming from if you're just thinking, now, I think I would just use that purple line there. Fair enough. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy or complicated here. Literally just a question of, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Literally just a question of, well, where did the party finally stop today? And the party finally stopped right up there at $2, and let's just call it 50 cents. So 250 will be that main battleground. Again, no complicated, dynamics or rationale behind it, other than the fact that that's just where the party finally stopped. So overall, very nice looking uptrend. Next one here, NFLX. Netflix had earnings today. The market really liked what it had to see. And now from a trading standpoint, just a beautiful, beautiful setup here. And let me be very clear, this is not a great, discovery on my part. A lot of people, maybe you already spotted it too. Look at that level right there. Let's call it 405.50. Very well-defined area that's just basically mapping out that, yeah, the price has struggled around that area. So in technical jargon, meaning that would be a level of resistance. So as I've already said, are there guarantees? Absolutely not. But is it valid? Is it plausible to think, even if it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy, that if the price can come up and break up through 405.50, that break could create that much more upside momentum and potential? Absolutely, definitely more than valid to think that way. So 405.50 going to be the main level that I think a whole lot of people are watching. And in my mind, that's kind of the main dynamic here of the setup. Yes, you could try to play pullbacks, but in my mind, because that's just such a well-defined area, 405.50 on Netflix. Let's see what happens. Next one here, MDAI. Started off nice and then had a very, very rough move to the downside here. But what makes this interesting is that, and this will mean a little bit more to those that have traded for a while, but if you have, I'm sure you've seen these movements where the price starts to drop, and then it just keeps dropping, and goes into oblivion, just a complete and utter gap and trap. But that was not the case here. The price did drop, yes, but it leveled out right there, at $3.30, which is going to make it a key level of support. But now, more importantly and more interesting, is its life is coming back in. It's starting to work its way back upwards. Now, which brings about a valid question. Is this the start of something even bigger? Now, to be fair, maybe it's not. I mean, maybe this thing just rolls right back over. But that is a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe this is the start of something much bigger, and this thing starts to rock and roll back up to where it was. So that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but watching it. So maybe you don't find this very unique. Maybe you don't find this very interesting. Fair enough. But if you do, and you think it's, okay, yeah, is this the start of something bigger? Then definitely a question worth keeping an eye on for the watch list on Friday. Next one here, AMZN. Amazon, very, very rough day here. Not necessarily because it was a red day, but just from, here's some older lines, but just from a technical standpoint, the price has now broken and is closed down below that pink line there, which you know already at this point is the 200 period moving average. Now, the one unique thing here is, just yesterday the price was down below that area, and then today, boom, the price is once again down below that area. Is there another big move to come? Just an interesting scenario to throw out there. But if the price does try to bounce, then yes, that first key level of resistance will be that 200 period moving average based on that premise of when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. So keep an eye on that. If the price does continue to try to battle upwards after breaking through that level, next key area of resistance would be that purple line there, the 50 period moving average. In terms of levels of support, go ahead and use this line here. Next key level, was that a perfect double bottom? No, it was close though. Wow. It's going to be that area right there, 127.50. That's where it bounced from yesterday. That's where it bounced from this afternoon. So is this a double bottom? Definitely worth keeping an eye on moving forward. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up. However, today, the NASDAQ market did not have a good day, which is exactly why this one had a rough day and dropped down here and actually dropped down below this area of support, which now brings about that rule. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level now as I don't want too many lines everywhere. But in the very near term, if the price does try to bounce back upwards, then that first key potential roadblock right there at $36.10. And the next level would be up there right at that 200 period moving average for the same reason I just talked about. Was support. Now you would expect it to act as a resistance. Now, what about areas of support? If this bleeding continues, as we're seeing here, we've got to drop down on the chart here quite a bit and go back into the chart's history here. Oh, yeah, this is, yeah. Next one really not until 34.50. Now, does that mean that it's going to drop all the way down to 34.50 within 2 hours? I'm not saying that. But technically speaking, with the breakdown below of that area right there, the price has certainly entered into this essentially kind of no man's land right here, where there's no really evident levels until you get down to that level right there at 34.50. So yeah, 34.50, next key market or next key level for the market in terms of whether or not it's going to generate a bounce or potentially breakthrough, which could create just that much more bearish momentum. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for that free live class. It'll be this evening, Thursday, October 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But like I said earlier, for whatever reason, if you can't make it live, go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com. All I'd ask there is that because it's truly live, the event does first need to happen, but that after I get it uploaded and or recorded and uploaded, then I can send you an email to the replay link. So just from that note, a little patience will be needed on that end of things. But if you can make it live, definitely get signed up. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment, tell me what you traded today, tell me your watch list for tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out. Go get signed up for that free class or drop me an email.